Good morning, bringing in all of our portals as we prepare to do our Wellness Wednesday wellness work today in our topic under David and Goliath. Excited about what God has for us on today. I invite all of you to go ahead and begin to bring your minds into the space, to bring your spirits into the space, to actually sincerely internalize again and again and again our regular confession here in the community. I'll invite us to join into that space in just a moment as everybody's coming into the room. Good morning. Good morning, Dolores. When I was here again this morning, real early, I saw you had already come in and greeted us. So good morning to you. Let's get right to it. Our confession says the Bible is my manual. Its instructions are for me. For those of you who are in our YouTube community, you're able to see it on the screens. For those of you who are in our TikTok and Facebook community, I'm saying it so that you can say it with us. So you can just repeat after me. But for everybody, again, let's meet right here at our confession as we prepare to get into our study on today. The Bible is my manual. The Bible is my manual. Its instructions are for me. As I apply its truth, I see my growth. I see my maturity in Him. And I remind each of us regularly and remind myself that when we come to the Bible study, we posture ourselves because the Lord has a word for us. We don't come to be entertained. We say the Bible is our manual. It's not a novel read for entertainment. It's a manual that is read for instructions. And so when we posture ourselves in that space, then we open our hearts and we elevate our faith, believing that because we are here, somebody say that with me, because I am here, God has a word for my life, a rhema word, a right now word. For those of you who've wondered, what does that even mean? Something that I need today as my daily bread so that I can continue my walk with Him. And I certainly believe that as we prepare to continue our study in 1 Samuel 17, where we were looking at David and Goliath this week. We've been following theme 2026 Manifested Miracles, personally in alignment with my own church, but just in looking at miracles, understanding and seeing God's character. But then on Wednesday, applying that character, applying that same lens to our own lives to understand our own character and where does God desire that we grow so that we can receive the miracles that He has for us. Well, somebody say, God has a miracle for me. He really does. God has a miracle for us. And so as we prepare to go into the work on today, the structure is just a little bit different from what we normally do. So again, I invite you to get your journals, get your pens, get ready to do the wellness work. I want to lean more into working more into equipping and empowering you to take this Bible, make it real-time application for 2026. See how it really does impact and change our lives when we take it and we apply it. Now, today, this topic is interesting, a different shift on the story of David and Goliath. And so the wellness work that I have for us today, I'm telling all of us, don't get lost in the armor. Well, somebody put that into your own notes on today, drop it into the comments or say it out loud to yourself. Don't get lost in the armor. Don't get lost in the armor. That's the wellness work. That's where we're starting on today. And I want to give us the backdrop from 1 Samuel chapter 17, the miracle that we've been studying this week. And it's this moment where David has shown up in the battle. Didn't go down there. Y'all remember we said didn't go down there to intentionally to be in the battle, kind of went in our version of DoorDash or Uber Eats. He was going to go and drop off lunch for his brothers. And there's so many other wellness nuggets in the story. But today we're going to focus on this point. So he shows up. He shows up in this space. And I invite us to bring our minds into that. There are moments in life when what you are being offered, it's not wrong. It's just not for you. Somebody say, it's just not for me. There are moments in life when you will be offered support, when you will be offered care, when you will be offered advice. And it's not that the person is doing it from an ingenuous space or with some ulterior motive. It's just not for you. That's a nugget all by itself because things don't have to be bad for you to reject them. Somebody put that in your notes. I'm giving you a lot on this Wellness Wednesday, bringing in all my licensed therapist stuff to you on this day. Things don't have to be bad for you to reject it. And the pressure can be very real. So again, David shows up to be in the battle. And Saul, being the leader that he is, he's the king, right? When it's determined that David is going to go into the battle to face Goliath, Saul actually does what any responsible leader would do. He goes into his own reservoir, into his own contextualization of what going into war looks like, what going into a battle looks like. And because his context is what it is, he offers David his armor. Somebody hear me on this today. He offers David his armor because armor is what you wear to a battle. Makes sense, right? It's standard, it's expected, it's the regular requirement, it's the protocol, it's what qualified looks like. And so as we're processing this, the lesson title again today is Don't Get Lost in the Armor. Will somebody say that with me? Don't get lost in the armor. So David, being who David is, he's the shepherd boy. He's never gone into the battle before. He's in this case like the intern or the mentee. David takes the armor. David puts the armor on. And David tries it on and he feels it out. And David understands that it's too big, it's too heavy. He can't move as he needs to. And he says to Saul the king, to Saul the employer, to Saul the supervisor, to Saul the one who's leading, the one who has made the primary decision. He says, I cannot go in these. I cannot go. I cannot go in these. Now, many of us believe that that David won the battle with Goliath at the point that David threw the stone, at the point that David threw the stone and killed the giant. Many of us encapsulate the victory of David and Goliath at that point. But I would offer for your consideration today that David really won the battle right here. Hear me on today. David really won the battle right here. Where is here? When David refused to get lost in the armor. Why do I put that out there for your consideration? Because David would perhaps have never made it to the moment where he could have physically thrown the stone had he been trying to wear the armor that did not fit him, that was not aligned with his assignment. In fact, rejecting the armor is what positioned him, it's what allowed him to actually become back in alignment with what was his original skill set. So, yes, the stone killed Goliath by God's grace. But I would just offer for your consideration that that miracle never would have happened if David had not engaged in this miracle. Somebody say, don't get lost in the armor. So David says, I can't go in these. And he takes it off. Now, I don't want to make that a light or minimal moment. So I invite you again to step on into that space with some sense of real awareness about what it looks like. Let's take armor again and talk about it for just a moment. Armor is the protocol. Somebody say protocol. Armor represents the pressure that comes with needing to fit into the standard, with needing to do what responsible people do, with needing to move the right way and have the right network. It's the standardized way of doing things. It's the conventional route that proves that you're ready. It's the set expectation for how you show up in certain spaces. It's the established wisdom. It's the best advice. It's what the system trusts. It's what qualifies you to be in the room. It's the right resume. It's the right look. It's the right connections. Everybody tracking? If you're tracking, lean on that like button. This is what professionalism looks like. It's what armor may sound like. Armor messaging may also be the spaces where it says, this is how leaders carry themselves. This is what maturity requires. This is what it looks like to be taken seriously. Everybody tracking? The armor messaging sometimes feels like, if I were you, this is what I would do. And again, not to paint any of that necessarily negative, but the armor, the traditional way, the conventional way, the prerequisite way, the expected way was the thing that David had to reject. Now, if you were here on Monday, you will remember that I said there are things that God will do in our lives that will reject everything that allows the glory to go to anybody but him. So David, in this moment, he rejects the armor. He does not get lost in the armor. And he allows himself to realign with several things. And that's where I want us to do the work on today. First Samuel chapter 17, for anybody who really wants to go deep and read the context. David is not rejecting help. He is rejecting being misaligned. The armor was not evil. The armor was just not for him. And so for many of you high capacity women who follow this Bible study, and any gents who are joining us, these high capacity people who have the ability, any of you ever felt stretched, pulled different ways, lots of advice, can do a lot of different gifts, have a lot of things already on your plate. You've always been the strong one. You've always been available. You're the problem solver. You're the prayer warrior. You're the bank in many instances for family needs. You're the emotional safety net for everyone. And so people often can see you being the one to go out and do the assignment. And they have this advice and this recommendation. And there comes a point, though, when the armor is not the issue, alignment is the issue. Being very clear about what your assignment is and what your purpose is, and knowing then that if it is your assignment, God has equipped you with everything that is needed to fulfill that assignment. To be clear, David's strength wasn't just having the courage to go against Goliath. It was this moment right here where David had enough courage to say, that you're offering, it doesn't fit me. Somebody be bold enough to practice that sentence out loud. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't work for me. That's not mine. That's not my assignment. That's not my portion, right? Having the courage to determine that not everything that is offered to me is meant for me. Y'all tracking on this morning? Let me see some of them like buttons. Make sure we're following. We're going somewhere. Some things that are given, are recommended, that are standard, that are expected, that are the protocol, that are the prerequisites, that are the established things, the conventional way. It's not for you. It's not for you. So this lesson on today is for those who know next is near. David is about to transition for certain from being that little shepherd boy on the backside of the mountains herding sheep to being a king that's sitting on the throne. His next really is near. His next is near. And that's what's interesting about when next is near, when people may know or may not know that next is near, but the atmosphere and the enemy knows. And it's a funny how many people will begin to attach to you when your next is near so that they can have a little bit of credit into what you became. But God establishes this so clear that nobody could say that they equipped and empowered David to be able to defeat Goliath. Nobody would get the credit for that but God. Do not be dismayed when your next is near and you seem as if the regular support that you used to get, the different connections that you used to have, they're just not working out like they once did. Perhaps God is doing something, a bit of separating, a bit of sifting, so that this next that is near in your life, nobody will get the glory but God. Somebody say, but God. And so then this is how this begins to play out for David. David's next is near. David has no idea that just in a few days hence, few weeks hence, just up the road, he is about to be appointed as king. David has no idea. He doesn't know that he's soon shortly to be on the throne. But his next is near. And the first step that we see is that David does not get lost in the armor. But how does he do that? Firstly, be bold enough to honor your discernment. Everybody hear that? For those of you who are in our community portal and Facebook and in TikTok, somebody may want to put that into the comments. YouTube, I know that we have it here for you. Be bold enough to honor your discernment. Everybody tracking? Be bold enough to honor your discernment. David says, after he tries it on, after getting all of the advice, the king, the soldiers saying what they wanted to say, David tried it on and David said, this don't fit me. This does not work for me. Now, it may not literally be physical armor for some of us, but figuratively, the opportunities that are coming your way as God is processing your dreams and your visions, your responsibilities, the things that are already on your plate. You know that things can be offered and something about it kind of looks good and looks beneficial, but in your spirit, you understand that relationship, that's not for me. That supporter, that's not for me. That brand endorsement, that's not for me. That compromise that I would have to make, that's not for me. Somebody say it with me, that doesn't fit me. David honored his own discernment. That yes, I am about to go into the battle. I'm about to go into the war. But this thing that you're offering me, it does not fit me. Not everything that is offered to you is meant for you. Some things are given because they are standard. Somebody said with me though, but I'm not standard. I'm not ordinary. God is doing a new thing in me. Standard is not the same as assignment. And the wisdom is learning the difference. Number one, be bold enough to honor your discernment. It can look like it makes sense. It can look like it's the responsible thing to do. This is what prepared people do. But something within you knows that this right here is not the thing for me. And being okay with that, honoring that. David shows us that we are allowed to notice when something does not fit. We are allowed to honor that truth, to hold on to that truth. That requires the boldness. That requires boldness. Number two, because I want to give us some space at the end to really do some wellness work. Number two, be brave enough to value your unique skill set. Now, this one isn't deep or profound, and many of us already see where I'm going with this. Be brave enough to honor your unique skill set. What did David do? When David said, this armor does not fit me, come on, y'all high capacity people, he picked up some stones and a sling. He didn't go searching for something new. He didn't try to get something renovated in 2.0. David understood that he had a very unique skill set. And yes, he got it. Everybody else out here who are soldiers out here on this field, y'all have your weaponry of choice. Y'all use your swords and your shields and whatever that looks like, your knives and all of this stuff. But David understood, I'm a shepherd boy. I've been on the backside. I didn't kill lions, tigers, and bears, right? I know how to handle a sling. It's sometimes getting back to that space of, you're right, y'all got a whole lot of renovative stuff to do. Renovated things, renovated, updated ideas, all of this stuff. But life experiences, years of honing this, gives me expertise with my stones and my sling. So when it's time for me to really get in this battle, I don't have time to go make up something to impress people. David honored his unique skill set. Will somebody really embrace that on today? Somebody may want to put that in the comments and tell someone else, sis, you got something. You got something unique. You got something that's original. You got something that you've earned expertise in. Use that. Use that. David honored his unique skill set. Let's move to number three so we can get some work in on this. Let me say this as I wrap up on this. He went back to what he already knew, a sling and a few stones. What looks ordinary to somebody else in your hands is tested, it's lived, it's real, and it's useful. This is where many of us can find ourselves. We think that to make impact, it's got to be innovated. It's got to be upgraded. But David teaches us that God has already trained you in your life to be effective. And that's enough. Your skill set may not look like what the world is looking for. May not. It may not have the packaging. But you got to trust that your emotional intelligence, your resilience, your ability to lead people, to build people, to manage people, your capacity, your ability to juggle, your lived experience is carrying weight. And when you show up with more than enough to make the difference. Somebody say, I receive it. Somebody declare, it's mine. It's mine. This skill set, it's mine. This lived experience, it's mine. It's mine. And I'm not new to this, as we say, we're true to this. This that I offer, this advice, this ability to stir it this way and mix it up that way, that's real. And that's what I'm going to bring to the table. Stop looking around at your stuff, trying to make it inferior to somebody else. And lastly, be strong enough to step forward as you are. Where do we see this in the text? The Bible says that when David took off the armor, he picked up his sling and his stones and he ran, y'all, into the battle. Whew. David ran into the battle. David had a confidence that who he was and what he brought with him was enough. Right now, will somebody say right now? David doesn't stand there waiting for confirmation. He don't need nobody to kind of talk him through. Okay, now you say you're switching up to these slings and these stones. Are you sure? I don't know. David doesn't take any of that. David takes that armor off. He picks up his sling and his stone. And the Bible again says he ran into the battle. He went with it. Like, I got this. Will somebody say, I got this? He doesn't wait for approval. Again, he doesn't wait for affirmation. He moves, not armored, not shaped in expectation, not moving according to the requirement or the standard, not performing, just simply in alignment. Somebody say, God, align me for the assignment. And he steps into that moment that everyone else, if y'all remember, have been taunted and teased about from Monday for 40 days. David steps into it the first day that he is on the scene, knowing that what he had, it was enough. This is that final layer of strength for you all. Not just knowing that what somebody else is offering you doesn't fit, not just valuing what you carry, your sling and your stones, but actually having the courage to move forward right now. One of the greatest kind of stumbling spaces for women like ourselves who are busy, who have lots of things on our plate, who have visions though and dreams and goals and big ideas and are called into ministry, are called to be peacemakers in the family unit, whatever that looks like, called to be the second term mom. You're the grandmothers who are raising those grandkids. You're the prayer warrior, the strong friend. One of the biggest things though that we battle with is always feeling as if there's more to do, that we could add more, we could be more, we could carry more. We're never just ready. We're seldom right now enough. Will somebody say right now? See, David teaches us something different. David understood that what you're offering me does not fit. What I have is already valuable. But then David didn't stand there with what he had in his hand, still assessing himself, still nitpicking himself, still striving for perfectionism. David said, right now, this that I have and who I am, it's enough. And he runs into the battle. He runs into the fight. He runs into the vision. He runs into his next. Many of you right now, you have enough to step into your next. The question then becomes, though, will we do it? You are already equipped in what is yours right now. Will somebody say move, move, move? And so here then is a few slides that I prepared for us. And again, for those of you who are in the other portals, I'll read them out loud. This is where I want us to be able to pause for just a moment and see this wellness work. Reflection number one is built off of our point number one. Be bold enough. Be bold enough. Be bold enough to honor your discernment. And so what then does that look like? When I'm saying be bold enough to honor your discernment, where in life, that's the question. Where in life am I currently trying to adjust myself to something that I know does not fit? Where? When David was bold enough to understand this armor does not fit me. Now, what many of us do is the opposite of what David did. David then said, take the armor. What some of us do is understand that this doesn't fit this assignment in mind. This thing that they're asking me to do at church, that's not what I'm called to do in this season. This extra stuff that they're trying to put on my plate right now with the family, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be over here launching this. Like many of us are aware that the armor does not fit. The advice does not fit. But instead of adjusting the armor, we try to adjust. So the question, the reflective work is, where am I currently trying to adjust myself to armor that I already know does not fit? It's not the time. It's not the season. It's not the person. It's not the calling. It's not the assignment. Where am I doing that in my life? Where am I doing that? And some of you may want to take a quick screenshot picture. And I've given you an action step because, again, we say the Bible is our manual. So in our Bible studies, when we leave, we want to have work. What am I supposed to do? If helpful, I'm going to just make this even bigger on the screen for you all for just a second and see if that helps it be a bit more visual. Here's the action step. Name one responsibility. Name one responsibility that feels as if it's that armor that's misplaced that you're going to adjust this week. For those of you who are also in the community, I'll make sure that I put the slides over there so that you can have them, okay? TikTok, I'm going to try to figure out how I can load them up for you all as well, all right? But for those of you in the community, I definitely can share the slides. But again, that's where in my life am I trying to adjust me? When David teaches us we don't adjust, we remove that armor. So what are some things that perhaps you know factually that you need to adjust, all right? Let's move. I'm going to move us to number two. Number two was be brave enough to value your unique skill set. Here's the good question for us. Be brave enough to value your unique skill set. Here's that question. What have I set down or overlooked? What have I set down or overlooked? Trying to become what is expected of me. Some of y'all have some skill sets. You have some stuff that you've maybe set down or put on the back burner, trying to put on some stuff that don't even fit. What have I set down or overlooked while trying to become what was expected of me? You know you have a heart for the elderly. You know you're called to mentor people who are coming out of domestic violence. You know that you're supposed to start that mentorship group, and you all over here trying to usher. And you don't even like to stand up on your feet like that. You don't even like to greet and hug the people like that. And I'm saying that comically, but you all understand. What have you set down or overlooked? You know you're supposed to be saving to start the business, and you're still over here loaning out when that is supposed to be your resources while trying to become what is expected of me. Here's the action step, a very simple one. What do I need to release? That was from part one. But part two is, and what do I need to recover? Somebody say both. Some of us may find ourselves in a space where we need to release and we need to recover. What do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? And what do I need to go back and get? What do I need to recover? What did I lay down? And the last question for today, and we'll get ready to get on out of here because our time is there. Our point number 3 was be strong enough to move forward just as you are. Be strong enough to move forward just as you are. We saw that. David, what did he do? He didn't backpedal. He didn't skip. He didn't hopscotch. He didn't double dutch. The Bible says David ran into the battle. David ran. Where am I still waiting to feel more prepared before I run into my next? Well, somebody said with me, next is now. Next is now. Again, in the spirit of this Bible study, we understand that God gives us instruction. We don't come into studies like this and say, oh, that was good. No, we come into Bible studies, and when he gives us a word, we leave to go and apply it to our lives. So if he has given us a story this morning of one of our faith siblings that reminds us that right now, what we have is enough to transition into our next, then this is the work for us. Where am I still waiting to feel more prepared when I'm already equipped? Already. And so the action step that I have for us is to take one aligned action this week. You may not go out and publish the whole book today, but can you write the first paragraph? Because you know you're supposed to write a book. Can you at least think of a name for the business? Because you know you're supposed to start the business. Can you just call one mentee? Because you know God has called you to do a small group, or start a cohort, lead a group of women or young men or young ladies or college students or whatever that is. Some of you know that you're called to be philanthropists and to give, and you're like, well, I don't have the endowment now. Can you give $1? Can you set up $1? Can you get $25 together for graduation season and put it just into the hands of one college student, believing that one day you're going to send students to college all around the world, or whatever that dream is? Can you take one aligned step to show that you're no longer waiting until you are perfected, that what you have right now is enough to get started at your next? And we're right here at our time, y'all. So those 3 questions in the YouTube portal, you can certainly go back and watch the replay and get all of the reflective tools. In the Facebook community, I'll certainly drop the slides so you can have them to reference. And TikTok, I'm gonna try to figure it out the best I can. But that's what we have on today. Again, everybody, if you'll meet me in the comments or say it out loud in your own homes or on your commute, however that moves for you, don't get lost in the armor. Don't get lost in it. What you have, as David demonstrates, how God uniquely gifted you, is more than enough to right now get started on who God has called you to be. As always, I honor the greatness that is on the inside of you. We have prayer tomorrow night. For those of you who are on our night shift, need that audience. And then for everyone else, we'll be right back here on Friday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time live to do our prayer and processing of this week's word. I'll see you all later. Take care.